can talk about pre-stuff. So this is the rants. This is now a tradition. After the last rant ended, I went, well, that went pretty well, and it's the most watched video on Siege and stuff. And I said to Andrew, I said, I had fun. Thanks for letting me do this. Hope you find somebody, that wants to do it next year so we can continue the tradition. And he said, you're it, Joe. So at least I knew, for a whole year I was going to do this again. Are we ready yet? Welcome, Internet people. So this is the rants. 10 people for 4 minutes. One of the traditions is there's one person that if they show up, they're getting the middle spot. But a spontaneous ranter was great last year, and we're going to do it again. So if you actually have a topic you think you might want to rant about, at about the halfway point, I'm going to ask for hands. If there's only one, I'm going to let you rant. If there's more than one, I want just a one sentence topic of what you might rant on, and then I will pick. Anyways, this rant was supposed to be called Indie Rants Part 2, Studios versus the Indies. But as it formed, it's more like old veterans versus the newbies. And the newbies there's no newbies on the panel, so sorry about that. Next year, the newbies might get their own rant. I don't know. The title of the rants is Fixing the Game Industry, and then they have their own subtopics, which I will announce only the subtopic, no personal information. You can share that if you want in between. They have 4 minutes, ready, set, go, that happens. So since the topic is fixing the game industry, my topic is there's nothing fucking wrong with the game industry. Okay, so I have to do this, horrible. So the reason there's nothing wrong with the game industry is twofold. 2 people found me this year and created their own jobs. It is in my bag. There it is. So 2 reasons why there's nothing wrong with the game industry. Number 1, 2 really smart, talented, type A people found me this year and created their own jobs. And if you can't do that, tough shit, okay? Now, the game industry now is no worse off than it was 30 years ago, okay? So there's nothing wrong with it because 30 years ago there was nothing really wrong with it either. And since this is better than 30 years ago, there can't be anything wrong. And in fact, this is the internet from 30 years ago. You went from party to party and played my game, and my game was so big, look at 3 discs, please. Please play my game, please. No distribution system, no nothing, okay? I made this game, really, please, take it. And if you like it, give it to somebody else, please. Please, I'd like to catch fire. Can you help me kickstart this, please? So anyway, so that, that doesn't happen. And the second thing, and man, it's been a while, I didn't practice, I should have practiced. So there's that, there's the internet. Oh, fucking Unity, okay? So this took me 3 years of my life, 20 hours a day, because I had to write a thing called an engine. And if I wanted this to do that, I had to do that, a pixel at a time. I didn't have an engine that said, oh, by the way, just please turn on physics for me. And by the way, here's an unplanned, spontaneous one. You guys don't even fucking debug nowadays, okay? Okay? In my day, I looked through stacks of shit, trying to find shit. In this one, what you do is you run into the debugger, and if you have a memory pointer problem or something else, it goes boom, it pops into the debugger, and you go, oh, that's what it was. Okay, oh, that's what it was, is not debugging. Okay, it's just not. Anyways, I'm actually done, because really, anything you complain or whine about, internet distribution systems, digital distribution, and good tools trumps anything worth hearing about from comparing 30 years ago. So that's me. I'm done. Next up is Alan Wilson, who, by the way, I'm going to break this. He's a very nice guy, and he only sounds mean because he says things. And by the way, this sounds so. Now, check out the difference here. you're a lousy, self-entitled little git. Versus, you lousy little self-entitled little git. You know, it's much worse because of his accent. Otherwise, he's a really nice guy. So, here you go, Alan. You can either go for it.
Does this work? I could vomit a better American accent than you do British. Yeah, I thought I'd be polite with the title and say, you know, you lazy.
Is it on?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Can you hear me? Yes. Thank God for that. Okay. You lazy, self-entitled little gits, otherwise known as you lazy, self-entitled, whining little shits. And here's the perfect example. Joe just said, you know, it's a bunch of old farts standing up here. Well, I'm old. And it's old farts versus indies, and it's all old farts standing up here. No indies, no startups or anything else, apparently, before I put my foot in. Is that true? But there's my point. Not one fucking student, indie or anyone else, volunteered to get their fucking ass on this stage. So don't you whine at us. I am so sick and... Am I allowed to swear? Yeah. Fucking isn't swearing, it's English. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yes, self-entitled little shits. How many times do I have to hear from students and startups and so on, can you help me because I'm too fucking lazy to do the work myself? How do you think we got up here, guys? We got up here because we worked our balls off. We worked 2 jobs, 16, 18 hours a day to get here. So don't whine at me when your fucking stupid little courses at college teach you how to be a designer and you have no idea what you're going to do next. Well, congratulations. You know, we all had to go through all of that. Get off your asses and do some work yourselves. There's some really good examples around Siege, if you go looking for them. Given who's here, I suspect that most of the people who should be taking note of this rant are asleep in bed because they can't get their fucking little asses out of bed. And anyone who volunteers to stand up here and rant, good luck to you. Congratulations and thanks for coming. But I mean, I don't know how many of the other old farts lurking around here feel the same, but you know, we were one of the first on Steam a decade ago. Yay us. I'm sick and tired of people who've built their games going, hey, we've got our game on through Steam Greenlight and it sold 72 copies. Can you now make it sell for us? No, I fucking can't. I do not care about your shitty little game if you have not done the work yourselves. Can you do the PR and marketing for us because we didn't think of doing any? Go and fucking do it yourself. Stop being so fucking lazy. I'm sick and tired of hearing of all these people who, oh, but we don't know how to do that. Well, here's a kind of little bit of news for you. None of us who are standing up here this morning had any idea either, but we went and figured it out. So figure it out, you lazy little bastards. You know, college students, how do I get a job in the games industry? There was a session on that on Friday evening. There was at least 10 or 15 people in the audience listening to find out how to get a job in the games industry. Congratulations, guys. What were the rest of you doing? Having a fucking drink in the bar? You know, it's that thing of get off your backsides. How can I put this in good Anglo-Saxon? Stop being, what, one more swear word? Stop being, fuck you too. Stop being lazy, self-entitled little cunts. I'm sick and tired of it. And so are most of us up here, just that most of us are too polite to say so. For those of you who will get off your backsides and do all the work, go to college, get your degree, wonderful, I'm really happy for you. But do a buttload of other work besides it. Don't come to me and go, hey, I got a degree in game design, I'm a game writer, give me a job. No, fuck you. Show me something, do something yourselves. Don't wait to be bloody told. Get out there and do it. I mean, to Joe's point, all the tools are free. Everything's free to you students, including, well, except education in this country. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, apparently the general message is fuck you all.
Next up, we have Leigh Morin. that, first of all, is a lawyer, but don't hate her because of that, really. And she's really upset with me for making her follow mostly Alan, a little bit me, but mostly Alan. She's so unhappy. And her topic is, dude, where's my IP?
So I think I'm going to be balancing out Alan's expletives with a very PG-oriented talk, comparatively speaking. So, dude, where's my IP? An IP is much more than a bodily function. Okay. Yep, it is. Picture this. Last night, you went to a crazy party where you got totally wasted, dude. Some transgender stripper gave you a suitcase full of money, which you spent recklessly, somehow acquiring a Rubik's Cube that turns out to be the key to an alien universe. Does that sound familiar? Good, because it shouldn't, okay? That's because I want you to focus on your content, not on the content of others. Intellectual property is the soul. It's the very beating heart of your enterprise. If you're not focused on your IP, you could really lose your ass. Yeah. I'm not just talking about content like your universes, stories, your characters, and your artwork, but your business and your trade names and your brands. Your trademarks and your copyright-eligible works are the true key to a new frontier. A place where innovation, imagination, and creation flourish. But, hey, if you prefer to wander aimlessly through a mental wasteland where the thought of growth, wealth, and power are anathema to you, be my guest. I encourage you by all means to sit on your parents' couch, eat chocolate pudding, and watch primates groom each other on TV. If you want to change your situation, you have to change yourself, okay? Start thinking, just start with that, about what distinguishes you from the masses of other games and game companies. And please, make an effort to protect it. Just a little effort, yeah. Secure your content, your name, and your brands, and make sure that you keep secrets that push your business forward. Because it is a fiercely competitive market. And if you don't fight to protect your work, there's really no point to it, after all.
Great job.
Thanks.
Okay, next up is Chris Rickwood, and I'm going to let him do his own title. He had a two-parter. I tried to cut it down to one. I think he can do a better job at conveying the tone it deserves, so I'm going to let him just go.
The title was Composers Were All Whores. Something about how like all composers are shitty at networking. Here's why. The beggars. It's. Yeah, we beg for our jobs. Okay, and here's why. All right, so at the GDC, there's this career pavilion, and at this career pavilion, people are looking, like devs are looking for potential employees. Well, one year at the GDC, there was this composer, of course, yelling, "Composer available! Composer available!" I am not joking. And this is as if like he's walking around like, there's a dev out there that hasn't met one of the 3,000 other composers at this conference. Somebody find that guy, and we are going to hire him on the spot. No, unfortunately, that's kind of how composers network. They think they're whores. They have to like push themselves on other people. So, for example, if they were at this conference, they'd maybe walk up to Nick and be like, oh, wow, he's from Turn 10. Yeah, here's my big chance. Hey, man, here's my demo of beats. Check it out. I'm awesome. What do you do? Oh, yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, all I care about is you giving me a job. So take that demo back to whoever it is, and, like, I'm going to be your next composer. Or if you look at, like, the GGDA Facebook page, if you look at the activity feed, and this is, I'm not even exaggerating, man, you'll see, like, informative shit, informative post, something that Andrew posts that nobody listens to, something about like Molly accomplishing something amazing, another important post, and then you'll get to where the composer posts, and it's gonna say, and I quote, hey, all you game developers, are you looking for music for your games? Take a quick look at my website and PM me. I'd love to connect. Was that one of you? I hope so. Stop doing that shit. Like you're not like adding content to everybody else reading that. You're just whoring yourself out. Networking should be like dating, right? So it should have a little bit of mystery, a little bit of finesse, you know. But like, here's my impression of a composer dating. So he's like standing in line at the bus stop where like composers stand, I guess. And like he sees like his soulmate across the room, and then walks up and is like, oh, hi, let's fuck. It's like, no. 4 out of 5 dentists are gonna tell you that is not how you find your soulmate. Let's take another example. Like, let's say a composer was a car salesman, because really that's what we are. We're a salesman, right? This is how it would go down. Like, he's in the car lot. He's looking around. It's like, oh, they're looking at that 98 Yugo. I'm gonna walk over to them and say, hey, like, I see you're interested in that Yugo. Wanna fuck? Like, no, that is not how you sell a car. That is not how you do it. Now, let's say you're a prostitute, right? And you are on the streets, you're dressed up maybe like this, I don't know. You see the Alan walking by, and it's like, oh, here's a potential client. So you walk up to him and say, hey, wanna fuck? Oh, that actually works. Wow. And that's how composers think that they can get jobs. So can we please, if there's any composers that are, I see one, he doesn't do that, oh, I see two. I'm sure they don't do that, but just please, let's stop being whores. Thank you. What?
I stood up for you 1 minute, Mark. Now,
Oh, I could see to Alan.
Okay.
You have 1 minute.
This is one of 2 panelists I actually didn't get a chance to know yet. I'm going to let him introduce himself. This is Mark Mandel. In all seriousness, I hope I genuinely
We met last night. You don't remember?
Yeah, for 2. I actually do remember, but we just met. That was it. There was no real conversation, no nothing. I genuinely
That's
hope
not my
to get
fault.
to know
I tried.
him
I tried.
beyond this rant, because I have a feeling whatever he says here is possibly not the real guy. I don't know.
If I can log into my computer
We'll see. Oh.
to get my notes.
And he doesn't read rules. No notes. No fucking notes.
No, I have notes.
Okay.
I have my timer too. I'm like, no, that's his. All right, so I wanted to rant about learning how to pitch your own game. So this rant comes from an experience I had at GDC earlier this year, where there was a lovely little indie booth, and I wandered up to a gentleman who had a game there, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. And I was like, okay, tell me about your game. And he looks at me and he says, well, it's hard to explain. And I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. Well, can I play it? Maybe if I play it, like I can get into it. And he's like, takes a long time to play. And I thought to myself, what the fuck are you doing here? Now, admittedly, I didn't say that to him, but like, so I am a developer advocate. Like, one of the things I do for a living is talking to people. So when I see people who can't tell a story, it really irks me. Because it's something that I learned, but I think it's a skill that everyone can learn, and it's something that we all can do. But it requires a few very simple things. 1, you have to check your ego at the door. 2, if we have some social anxiety, we have to grab that and put that somewhere safe for a little while. And 3, you have to solicit feedback, right? Learning how to speak to people and how to pitch the thing that you have, this game that you love, is a skill you can learn and do, and actually isn't that hard. But like, I even want to take it back another level, right? If you have an idea for your game, like as soon as you have that idea for your game, that's the moment you need to start learning how to pitch your game. Because if you can't get anyone excited about your game or explain what your game is, you can't build it. Like, you can't do anything. And how many people have we all met where we're like, oh, I've got this great idea for a game, and then like they tell you it, and you're like, eh. And then they get angry at you because you don't understand their idea about their game. Like, that's not on you. That's on them. Like, that's, if you can't explain it and get people excited. So if you have a concept for a game, like, get people in. Like, find random people and talk to them and be like, does this get them excited? If I talk to them in this way, does that work? If I use different language to different demographics of people, does that work? Once I'm at a prototype stage, right? This should be baked into my design document, like how I pitch this thing. This is so important. Like when I'm at prototype stage, yeah, I want to have like a fake demo and have people come in, and I'm going to talk to them as if I'm talking to a real audience of people. And I'm going to be like, this is what I think is really cool about this game. If I explain it as a mashup of like, I don't know, JRPG with like an FPS or something, and people go, yeah, that's amazing. Like, take hold of that and be like, okay, that's the thing that gets people excited. That's the thing that really, really works. And just keep rinse and repeating. Showing up on demo day at like Siege conference and being like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to people, it's gonna be cool, it's fine, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great, it's fine. Like, that's not good enough. Like, it's just not good enough. You should be having like random, set up a fake booth at a fake area with your game and like invite all your family and friends and just be like, come in and play my game and I'll talk to you about it. And then afterwards be like, hey, listen, when I told you that thing about my game, this great thing, or you saw the artwork, or like you saw my collateral that I'm telling you about and I explained how this thing works. Did that get you excited? Did that get you interested? Was that working for you? Because when it comes time to actually like getting your thing for sale or standing at a demo day in front of people, it shouldn't be the first time you hear it. It should be like second nature to you. You should be explaining this thing every day and getting people excited to it every day. Because by the time you really like want to get this in front of people you care about, like this should be just like nothing, like second nature. Because getting people excited about your game is as much your job as it is to actually make that game and get it into production.
You're fine.
I got 10 seconds on mine.
Go. Okay.
That was it.
I reset a few times. Awesome. So we're at the halfway point. We do this in 10 seconds. Anybody want to rant as a spontaneous rant? 10 seconds. 9, 8. What's your topic? Wrong. I'll ask one more time and 2 more ranters. And if you can't do it quicker than that, we're just going to embarrass you up here, and I don't want to do that either. But next year, you want to rant, I promise you will rant. But you need to prepare, okay? Get what you want. Nope, 2 more. 2 more, and we'll come back. And if you can say it and get up here, I'll let you get up here. Otherwise, next year, okay? No big deal. Really, take a deep breath. Hey, look at me, sir. Sir, what's your name? What's your name? What? Franklin? I'm Joe. We're all friends here. Seriously. If you can get it together, I'll let you in a few minutes. If you can, and that's okay, because speaking is supposedly worse than death for everybody. Next year, I promise you, you'll be up here, okay? And it's no big deal if you're not today. Not a big deal at all, really. And, okay, so, Matt, you're up. And I do remember his title because it was better than Chris's. And I was fearful, Chris. I thought I was going to make that list of shitty people that do certain things or whatever, but I was so glad it wasn't quite on the list. Matt's title, if I remember correctly, was "You Suck at Sucking at Your Game." Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Enjoy your 4 minutes.
All right, here we go. So what's funny is that basically the points that Mark was making are kind of my points. I just kind of just sort of massaged around a little bit. So yes, the one thing that I discovered that I want to rant about is that how many people are game developers in this room are working on games, working on projects, basically everybody. How bad we all suck at sucking at our games. And it's not just you, and it's not just them, it's everybody. Everybody is terrible at it, and there are 2 reasons, and they're both science. So I know you'll be very excited to hear about my science. How many people are familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect? So the Dunning-Kruger effect is the idea that people who are not good at things think that they are good at them, and people who are really good at things underestimate how good they are at them. And this is, the phenomenon of you trying to explain to an engineer why it is that he fucked up the bridge, because you just have no idea how hard it is to build a bridge. And but what's interesting about this is that it is not arrogance. It is not just you're dumb. We all have this effect. We all have this part of our brain that makes it hard for us to imagine what it's like to be good at something and what it's like to not be good at something. And so the Dunning-Kruger effect has a corollary. And the corollary is what we always wind up in a room with a bunch of developers who've been working on a game for 2 years, arguing about what the new player experience is going to be like. And none of us have any fucking idea. And the corollary to this is called expert blindness. And expert blindness, it's a real thing, and you cannot avoid it. You cannot will your way out of it. You cannot smart your way out of it. The only way out of it is playtesting and watching new people who have never, ever played your game, play it for the first time. It's the only way. And this is the reason it is a rant is how many times we all together have to argue with other people about, no, we don't know, we can only know by watching. And the examples that I think of, used to play a game called Panzer General, where you're a tank commander, right? And I remember how hard the first level was. The first level, oh my gosh, it was killer. You're bringing your tanks in, and over and over again, you're trying to take the city, and you couldn't do it. And then got past it, went on, played the game, sort of passionate game player, and that way I played it way, way, way too much. And then I restarted the game, and I could not lose the level. I couldn't figure out how I had done so poorly the first time. I tried to lose, and I couldn't lose. And another example is our own game, Brawlhalla. It's a fighting game, right? And everybody in the office now, except me really, is really good at the game. And everybody at the office now sees the game slowed down. They see everything happening in slow motion. And so constantly we are having people who are good at the game, who are smart, who are great game designers, trying to put in new features that speed up the game, that make the game go faster, that make the game quicker and more and work better at higher levels, that make the game for the new player worse. And this is something that can really only be fixed in one way, and that is going and sitting behind somebody who is playing your game for the first time and watching them play. And here's the hard part, watching them play and not saying anything. It's impossible. It's so hard. It's like you're like, oh, Matt, there are good things to say. Maybe, in theory, I don't know what they are, but there are so many bad things to say that the safe thing is to say nothing and sit there and watch. And also, if you're saying nothing, you can not spend your time trying to defend your game. Say what you want to say. Oh, go do this, or oh, that feature's not done yet, or whatever. And then you have to release that part of your brain to watch. Because this gets to, I don't know how I'm doing on time, because I got my second point. All right, I got.
And I didn't start it.
All right.
I think you're doing fine. I think you're about done.
All right.
But we're good on time.
All right. Well, then I'm not going to get to my rant about how Donald Trump's an idiot. Damn it. Yeah. We'll just leave it. We'll let that go. He's already dead. Yeah.
Who's already dead?
Trump. But yeah. So, cognitive bias, playtesting's a fire swamp. Really, you got to do it. Please. That's my rant. Thank you very much.
Okay. next up is Alyssa Lewis, and she's the only other person I really don't know that well on the panel. Hopefully we'll get to know you a little bit afterwards. Same way with Mark. And I do want to point out one other thing. I mean, I rant a lot in real life. And I also have the reputation of being, man, he's a real asshole, you know, when people first meet me. And luckily, they actually, I don't know if I've learned the trick or whatever, but over time, and I think Alan does this better than me because, man, I hated Alan the first few times I heard him. And then he gave me an hour of his time, and I was like, wow, he's such a nice guy. Why does he want to be a dick all the time? And I'm like, and unfortunately, I was in front of a mirror, and I went, fuck, you know, and it is because you care about shit. You care about shit. He can have his minute.
Fuck you.
He took my phone. He took my phone? No, he didn't take my phone. Oh, he gave me a hug. Did you give me a hug? Oh. Anyways, the only point I want to make is we're ranting out of love, okay? And you need to get that. And nothing's important, okay? What I'm going to remember today is that I blew it. I blew it with this guy right in front, who's a nice kid. I want to get to know him better. And if he still wants the mic, I'm going to give it to him. And I don't care what he says. And I can tell you're in a little pain about this, but you shouldn't be. You're being yourself. Fuck off anybody else who thinks differently. I apologize to you personally for putting you in this spot when I didn't realize it was so important to you. So if you'd like to rant, you can. Up to you. Say whatever you want. What's your name again?
Franklin.
What's your name?
Franklin.
Franklin. This is Franklin. Come on up, Franklin. You got 2 minutes, but I want to hear whatever you want to say.
All right. All right. My rant. Deal with yourself. Now, within the industry, I notice how most... Does this work? Yeah. I notice how most in the industry say that most games have to be done with a team, right? Well, most people prefer to work in teams. But then there's also sayings how, you know, some teams struggle. Teamwork is important. Some teams struggle. So what if there's So then there are some people who are not. What if there's some who are not reliable, who are not used to working in teams? What do they prefer to work faster? They tend to work better in teams alone. What if there's some aspects? Sometimes there are some aspects you won't be able to do, or the team is not reliable. They tend to go into fights or altercations somehow, or maybe you're too strict as a leader. Maybe you're not a good team leader. You're not fit for leadership. I would say in these cases, you'd be better off getting things done yourself instead of just relying on a team to do it for you. This is something I've learned. I've learned the hard way since high school when I worked on my first project, which was a fan-made game known as Armin 3. Now it was Armin Extended. Now it's Armin 3. I have managed a team twice, and they both failed on 2 separate occasions. First time was because I was mostly strict. I was too strict, mostly. I took the team too seriously, and I overworked them, and they got all frustrated, and they started leaving. So then I tried a different approach with a new team. With this new team, however, I was too soft. Rare. I was actually too soft. And as a result, they ended up taking advantage of it. Especially when my story writer came in. When my story writer essentially came in, so everything seemed nice until we got into PR manager. Oh, just 2 days and 2 days and they started going at each other's throats. And by the end of the year, the whole team was at a civil war of itself. It was a matter of time before the whole team just fell apart. But then and I just decided to just get the game done myself. But it seemed like It took me doing the game, just getting the game on myself, getting everything out on myself, the music, not only the programming, but the music, the artwork, almost the entire game done myself. That's the only time that my project finally started getting somewhere. It finally started getting done faster when it's done yourself.
Nice job. You did well. You really did okay. Great job. Thank you. Yep, no problem. Alyssa?
Okay, before I begin my rant, I'm gonna have a mini rant. My name is Alisa. Everyone says Alyssa, Alicia, Alicia. I've gotten so many sa's and shas. Lisa. Say it with me. Lisa. Lisa. Okay? Okay, perfect. And don't beat yourself up for it. I never correct people until now. I'm on the stage, baby. Okay, my rant today is you don't belong here. And I don't say this in, the cruelest of manners. You don't belong here if you don't want to work on your craft, if you don't want to build your brand, and if you don't want to network like you're on Survivor, then you don't belong here. There are plenty of ways to make money. There are plenty of ways to be famous. There are plenty of ways to make that teacher who told you never be anything jealous. If you want to become a game designer or programmer or anything in the game industry, it's going to cost you $12,000 to $40,000 to go to college. It's going to take you 2 years to break into a studio. It's going to take you hour after hour after hour of working on your craft to get that game completed. And if you don't want to put in the work, if you want to kick back and watch marathons of shows like I do, if you want to, go out with your friends and hang out and talk about what it would be like if you were awesome, this just isn't the place for you. I want to tell you a story about how I got into the industry. Now, I'm just in the media industry. I've made games before, but it's not my 9-to-5 gig. I was told by my professor that I needed to shape up and get better if I wanted to excel in the class. I don't want to go on about teachers who are out to get you or don't believe in you, but I didn't feel like I was going to be mentored at the same level as the other students. So to get my education, I went outside and took other classes that were going on at the university. I stepped in on some classes that my friends had and some classes that had nothing to do with my major, and I learned enough to get into the television industry. Now, there are other people that I meet, after you make it, your school goes, oh, come on back here and give a talk and tell everybody else they can make it too, so they can, get other people to go to the university. So I go back and I do that, but I meet other people, and they're always like, oh, well, how can I get in? I have this thing, and I tell them what I did. I told them about taking other people's classes, about learning things online, and about going to different events, and I was shy and awkward as ever, but, I kept grinding at it. And I watched them say yes, and then not do it. I put on events now. I didn't used to put on events because I was shy and awkward, and then I started doing it, and like you said before, I would fail. I failed a lot in the beginning. I failed hard, I got rejected hard, and now I'm over here talking to you guys, and I would suck at talking to people just one-on-one. And I tell people, you should do that. You should start a club. You should be the leader of that club. You should join a club. You should be on the board of that. You should find some way to get yourself ahead of others and do it in the easiest forms. And that is in organizations, that's in your education, that one-on-one thing you do with the computer and yourself. That's with you getting jobs with just your friends first, getting a lead position with you and your friends instead of going to a studio first. And I hear the and then years later, they still haven't done it. I run into people now that I met over 10 years ago who asked me those questions when I was first starting out. And they're still in the same spot. And that really upsets me because with all the nodding and all the years going by, they still have not done it. And I know that today I will meet more people who are fantastic, who are smiley, who have all the opportunities and are way more advanced than I was at their stage. And they will nod and say, and they will still not do it. So I just want to tell you that if you're that and you know who you are, because think 5 years back, where were you? Not too much different than you are right now, you're that person. If you're that person, save your tuition. Save your sob stories about how hard it is to get in. Save my time. Please save my time. Don't call me. I know my phone number is on that business card. Do not call me if you're not going to actually do it. Get a job that pays a lot of money. I hear engineering is nice. Stay, do Walmart. You make more money doing Walmart. Yeah, I mean, you really will. You make more money going to Walmart than you will sitting at home dreaming about your favorite game. So there you go. That's my rant. If you're not passionate about it, just don't do it.
Alicia? Okay. Thank you, Miss Florick. The Good Wife, anybody watch? A few people do, I guess. Okay. Brad, you're up next. He's gonna give you guys all some help by telling you to get some help.
No, that's somebody else. I'm not you? No, I'm not telling people to get help. No. Is it yours? No. You can do mine. That's cool, Brad. No, you do it. So, hey, my name's Brad Merritt. I'm the game design director for Cartoon Network, and that's given me a pretty interesting perspective because I do firsthand development, but I also get to work with lots of vendors, which means I work with lots of small independent studios. So I get to experience the industry from both sides. And so the name of my talk is Your First Game Should Not Be Your First Game. And the subtitle is Why Are You Printing 3D Action Figures for Your Game Before You've Ever Released a Single Game in Your Entire Life? So, like I said, we've worked with a lot of vendors, and I've seen things changing over, I've been with making games since '98, and I've seen a troubling pattern, which is students or people will take whatever their first student project was, or their first game jam game was, and be like, all right, now it's time for ask for $100,000 on Kickstarter, get this bad boy going and work on it for the next 3 years of my life. But here's the thing, and like Matt was saying, the Dunning-Kruger effect plays into this. You don't know anything. You don't even know enough to know you don't know anything. And the difference between making a game jam game or making a student project is enormous. And the difference comes in finishing your game. And there's been a number of talks about this here, but if you have not finished a game, and I don't mean like, yay, I wrapped it up in 48 hours and it runs at a game jam. I mean, you launched it on a platform. You ran QA. You ran user feedback. You made crazy-ass sweeping changes at the last minute because you got a critical piece of feedback that showed you needed to change your game. You've localized it into 15 languages and launched on every single different language app store. If you have not done that, like to completion, you have absolutely no idea how to finish a game. And so when you come out of school and you start your first project this way, in this I'm going to work on it for 2 years and kickstart it, you lack so much knowledge, you're never going to be able to scope things correctly. You're not going to be able to plan things correctly. You're not going to be able to hire people correctly. You're not going to be able to market correctly. You're not going to be able to do PR correctly. You're not going to be able to do any of this stuff. And where it's going to kill you, where it's going to ruin your career, is when during your 2-year project, let's say for argument's sake, you got your $100,000 on Kickstarter. Oh my God, it's amazing. You're a success story. Don't worry about the millions of other people that failed. They're not going to come out and be like, hey, everybody, I failed. Just let me write some articles on Gama Sutra about what a giant failure I am. You're never going to read that article, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to get $100,000. You're going to hire a bunch of people. Oh, my God, you're making the dream game. The game that the rest of the industry is too fucking stupid to make, you're going to do it. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to run out of money. Half of your team is going to flake out. And this is when studios turn to people like us at Cartoon Network, and they're like, hey, we want to make games for you. And we're going to be like, awesome, we love working with new studios. What game have you put out? Well, nothing. I'm kind of working on my first project. We had a successful Kickstarter. I've got all these posters. I've got some action figures. It's going to be awesome. And every single solitary person that could give you money, possibly, will not do it. Because you've never released a game, and everyone who's gone through the progress knows that until you've done a game to completion, you will have no clue. So let me look at some other things. All right. So what to do? Like, what's the solution? I have 1 minute? Okay, good. So here's the solution. Make something stupidly small. I want you to find the stupidest, smallest, quick fail mobile game you can possibly find and make something like that. It can be a Tetris clone. I don't give a shit what it is. Just make something and finish it and put it out. So you can learn how much of a pain in the ass it is to work with Apple, how much of a pain in the ass it is to work with Google, and work with Amazon, and work with all these platforms, and deal with translating your game into 15 languages, and deal with that one translator who keeps trying to sneak swear words into your game for some reason. And so just do something small and get it done before you ever even think about going crazy and making your magnum opus.
Thank you very much. So the Dunning-Kruger thing is a mixed bag with me. Number one, there's this slope that's like, this is knowledge over time, and it goes like this, and then finally, this is the expert over here. They call this thing Mount Stupid, okay? But what I just realized is because of the Dunning-Kruger effect, either I'm not nearly as funny as I sometimes think I am, or because I worry about it because I know about the Dunning-Kruger, maybe I'm really funny, and I just worry too much because I'm way at that end, you know. And you can't tell. Now that I know about Dunning-Kruger, I can't tell. Okay, yeah, I know. This is scary. Thank you very much. Nick, you're up next. And another reason I'm getting old, other than busting on this guy who looks like, has anybody seen The Millers? Ray, see, you look like him. You're his older brother from 20 years, 20 years in the future, whatever, but you're him. Anyways, I wrote down, get some help, but I put it in Brad's spot, and then I went, oh, that's wrong. I caught it. So I wrote, get some help in your spot, and I never went back to fix Brad's intro. And it's only 3 seconds. It was, it's just amazing. Anyways, Brad, here you go. Oh, just kidding. There you go, Nick.
That was awesome. All right, so first thing I want to do is, Alan pointed this out, I didn't actually realize it, but I put notes for my rant, and I just finished them right there about 30 seconds ago.
I put it in writing.
The name of my notebook is, can you read that?
Things that annoy me.
Things that annoy me. So, I don't think this is going to take 4 minutes, but if I go over, just kick me off because this is going to be terrible. So I'm going to tell a couple of stories and then maybe make a point. No promises. All right, so back when I was working in another life, I worked for EA, and I was traveling between studios, teaching actually production and design, trying to ramp everybody up on these are the fundamental elements of design. Introducing a lot of policies is you had to be interested in actual game mechanics rather than just a sports fan, because things got better. I watched a movie that maybe somebody's heard of. It was like the Indie Game movie or something. Indie Game movie. All right, I thought maybe some people heard. All right, so I watched that with the perfect dichotomy of emotion. I was swelled with pride that these people were so passionate to do these games, and they were gonna work so hard, but absolutely frustrated at the, what's a good word to use right now? It's just the idiocy of the mistakes that they made, that just a simple conversation with somebody that has finished a game could have saved them. And I'm not saying I could save every single indie game that's ever going to be made, but I think maybe I could help. So later on that year, I go to GDC, and there's a sea of T-shirts. A sea. By the way, at GDC, when you introduce yourself as I'm the senior producer at EA Sports, and you get booed in the room, you get, all right, well, maybe I'm just not going to come back to this thing. A sea of T-shirts, black T-shirts with green print, and it would say 100% indie. And 100% not the man. And I wanted to run out and get a T-shirt that said 100% the man. And I'll be accepting your resumes next month. I want to help, but there's just enough asshole in me to get that out. My third story is that there was an intern came to work for us, a brilliant kid. I was thrilled to hire him. It took him about 2 weeks before I wanted to bury him in a shallow hole because so Madden has been made for a while, right? There's some technology there that's a little bit long in the tooth, but it works and it's good, and Madden's a great game, and people are very proud about that. So he comes in and he spends 2 hours in my office explaining why he needs to rebuild an entire tool suite that we've been using for longer than this kid's been alive. I'm like, it runs, it compiles, it doesn't have any problems. Nobody's ever complained about it before until you got here. And he was stymied by how terribly stupid the rest of us were. It's like 6 months internship. I don't think he actually lasted the whole 6 months. That's really my point, though, is that there's a lot of people. I understand that you graduate college and you're like, hey, you graduate college and you're like, I'm one of the smartest people here. I mean, part of that's because most of them are freshmen, and freshmen can't be trusted with themselves. I understand that. But then when you get graduated, you spend a lot more time in life being the freshman than you do being the senior, and you need to figure out how to find people that have solved these problems and ask questions. You don't even know the questions to ask. Tell your story, and they'll tell you what you need to know.
Just to add to that with one line, my father always taught me, and this is a lesson for just about everybody. And since I'm on camera, I'm not going to say it applies to my oldest brother. But you don't get to be chief until you learn how to be a good little Indian. You know, that's mine. Anyways, with no further ado, our final speaker, and she hates this, but I'm doing it anyway. She killed last year. She really killed. She hates it. Because you will do fine. Anyways, because you did that. That's why you did this. Anyways, Michelle Menard. Awesome.
I'll get you back next year. All right, so I tend to agree with Joe that there's actually not, in the grand scheme of things, all that many things wrong with the industry per se. However, there are many, many things wrong when you put people together in a room and then tell them to get something done. So, you're sitting in a team meeting, you're telling off what you want to do, and then without fail, it starts, you hear the little rumble in the back of the room, oh yeah! And you're like, God damn it, who invited the Kool-Aid man? No! If you are that yes man sitting in the back of the room thinking, I'm going to be smart, I'm going to say yes to everything this person up in the front is saying, no, you are not being smart, you are annoying and stupid. Holy shit. Okay, I am a designer. Designers are egotistical little assholes. We do not need help for you to stroke our tender little egos to make us feel better about ourselves. We do that very well by ourselves. Thank you. You are not helping. You are hurting. Because in the end, ideas need to be able to stand on their own without being told and held up on a podium that they are the best. They're the best thing ever in the industry to have ever existed ever. No. Because in the end, what are you doing? You're building in product. You're building a game, right? It needs to be good. It needs to stand on its own. It needs to prove that it needs to exist. Who are you building it for? Players. They don't want to play shitty stuff because if you give them shitty stuff, what are they going to do? Not play your shitty stuff again in the future. And at the end, what are you doing? You're hurting your own self because in the end, who makes games? People. You make games. You are hurting your own reputation and your own integrity by being that idiot in the back being, oh yeah! Like, no! Oh no! Is what you should be saying. Oh no, this thing is stupid. Prove to me that it should be good. Prove to me that it is good. Not, oh yes. That also goes on the other side. Companies. Don't drink the company Kool-Aid. I don't give a shit if you finally get hired by Blizzard and it's your dream job. Blizzard is not infallible. Zynga is not infallible. Joe is not infallible. Companies do good things. Companies do bad things. Companies are not the Pope. They make mistakes. And if you're sitting there in the back being like, it's the best thing ever, all I want to do, yay, you're not helping. You're hurting. Holy shit. Because if you're sitting there being like, this is the best, all we ever do is make the best, what are you going to stop doing? Making the best. Because again, you're not proving that it needs to exist, that it is the best. You need to question, you need to demand that it is actually the best. So how do you do that? Because yes, I realize not everyone is like, a manager, a VP, the lead. Yes, they in the end make the decisions. What can you do as Joe Peon, little hired just by out of college little person? A lot, actually. Okay. So first, take responsibility for even that teeny tiny little jelly bean of content that you have. Own that. Take responsibility for that. Have integrity over that teeny little thing. Make it the best it possibly can be. Question. Don't just say, oh yes, I finally was given something to do. I'm going to do it. No, be like, hey, this is dumb for these reasons. Prove to me. Talk to me. Let's work through this and make it better. Because you know what happens? Companies are ephemeral. They come and go. We all know that. Just go look on Wikipedia and shut down game studios and then cry for a little while. I'm not bitter. All right. Games come and go. They make it made, they get sold, they go away. Again, I have boxes and boxes in my house, things that I've never even played. They come and go. But what is constant? You. Who keeps making companies? Who keeps making games? Who keeps keeping get laid off? You do. You are the constant. If you're not as the best that you possibly can be, if you don't take responsibility, if you don't have integrity, you're bringing everybody down. Take responsibility, make everything prove that it should exist, demand quality, demand that things need to prove that they need to exist, and stop drinking the goddamn Kool-Aid. Holy fuck.
No problem. She would have been so much better if I didn't mention how good she was going to be. I apologize because she really sucked. But please clap so she feels a little better. Please, can everybody give her a, oh yeah, oh yeah. Thank you all. We're done. We're done. Stand up. Applause. Really. Stand up. Woo! Thank you.